can you tell me a little bit about choosing to sign on to this? Because there's a couple of things here that might make the decision difficult. I was thinking maybe people aligning you with the political agenda here, and then maybe also just being in that environment and being dirty and gross. Two completely different things, but...
Yeah, no, to me it was a very easy decision. I was working on True Blood, and I had Disconnect and What Remains New in New York lined up right after True Blood, and then I had October, November, December off, and I was basically reading scripts for that window, and I read a lot of scripts, some good, some mediocre, some not so good, but then it was 4th of July, I was down in San Diego, and my agent sent me the East, and I was just blown away by it. I thought it was an amazing story, great script, very, very intelligent and well written, and relevant and important, but it didn't feel didactic. It didn't feel preachy. It didn't feel like it could have easily been a movie about like the woman who works for the big bad corporation, and then she joins the group and these bearded people out in the woods, and she realizes that they're the good guys, and then she fights the corporation that she used to work for, and it had so much more depth than that, and even within the group, and that's what made it feel real to me. They didn't all agree, and morally it raised some interesting questions of like, what's okay, civil disobedience. Is it okay to break the law? Is it okay to hurt someone? And Benji, who's one of the more militant members, like, if you subscribe to an eye for an eye, like, what does that mean? What does that entail? Like, are you willing to kill someone? And it felt, looking at other groups, like real groups like the Weather Underground, who kind of imploded because some members were willing to go further than others, and that obviously created some tension, and I was very intrigued by it, and also like it just made me, like I said, it didn't feel. I'm always allergic to films that, or novels or plays where you feel like they're trying to shove an opinion down your throat, and even if I agree with what the filmmaker or the author is trying to say, I hate that, and that wasn't the case here. I felt like I put down the script and I was like, I thought about morality and what is okay, where do I stand, what would I do in a situation like this, and it felt like even at the end of the film, they don't agree, and who is the bad guy, or is there a bad guy? It just felt very real in a way, and I had seen Sound of My Voice, I'd seen Another Earth that Britt did with Mike Cahill, and I thought they were both amazing films. And I knew a little bit about the story, how Zal and Mike and Brett kind of lived together, and they wrote those two films in a way together, and how supportive they were of each other. I mean, Mike, just an example, it's just amazing how Another Earth got a lot of attention, obviously, so he would like travel the world with Another Earth, but at the same time shoot second unit on the East. So he would go to New York for the Gotham Awards in a suit, go to the show, the award show, and then like the after party, jump on a plane, fly down to Shreveport where we shot the East, show up at 6 a.m. in a suit to his friend's movie set, Zal, and be like, all right, Zal, what do I do? What can I do? Like, obviously for no money at all, like no sleep, in a suit, he would run around and shoot like second unit stuff, and it was just so beautiful how much Zal and Britt and Mike, how much they love each other and how supportive they are of each other, and they're so to go back, when I finished the script, I called my agents and I said, this is amazing, I want to meet Zal and Britt, is it possible to do that? They were up in LA. I jumped in a car 4th of July, drove up from San Diego, met them, and their energy is just pretty amazing.
I'm pretty fascinated by how they wrote the script, too. They actually did all of this stuff. I mean...
Yeah.
And, like, dumpster diving. Would you ever do any of that?
I would have loved to go on that adventure with them. That would have been amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to... because that was right after I wrapped True Blood. I went to New York for What Maisie Knew and Disconnect, and then I shot those till about 4 days before the East. We started the East, so I didn't really have time to. The way I prepared was basically from my trailer on set or my hotel room, like on my computer, or reading books, or watching documentaries, but also talking to Zal and Brett about their experience, that summer, what they went through. And I'm a pretty adventurous guy, I think. I definitely would have loved to join that.
Normally, I don't really like reading press notes all that much, but this kind of read like a story, and everyone had these really awesome anecdotes. Do you have any memories from set that have really stuck with you?
So many. There was something like the bathing scene was the second day of shooting, and I think that was a coincidence, but it was, or they planned it very, very. I mean, it was a smart planning, because it really, something happened that day there was another scene we shot that day that didn't make the final cut, but of us all in the mud next to the lake, just hanging out, doing like I guess our version of a spa, mud spa or whatever, just like rolling around in the mud, hanging out, like it was an old Renaissance painting almost of us, just like lounging in the sun. And it was just such a great bonding experience. We didn't really know each other, but we got there and everyone just got in there in the mud, and just like we really connected in a way there, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the shoot. And we became like the East in a way. We didn't attack corporations, but
it's a good thing.
Yeah, but we kind of lived together. Zal and Brett had a house, and every weekend, obviously every day we would, spend all day, every day together on set. But then on weekends we would go to Zal and Brett's house and cook and dance, hang out, and just play around, like hang out, but also like work on the scenes for the upcoming week. And we would sit on the floor of Zal's bedroom, Zal and Brett and I, and just like play around with the scenes and see, all right, like, I mean, it's a phenomenal script, but it's still fun to explore the scenes and see what happens. Like, all right, so we have this scene, we don't have to change it, but let's see what happens if we take it in this direction instead. What will happen? And when you have people like Zal and Brett and Ellen, absolutely, to work with, and it's so much fun, because we're all very similar in terms of like, we thrive, like we love those moments when, even on set, when something isn't working. Like, some people don't like that. I love those moments when because that's when you really got to work. That's when you got to figure it out, and you play around with it, and you try it differently. And when you're in the car on your way back to the hotel at night, and you're like, I had no idea that was going to happen today. Those are great moments when you show up on set and you're prepared, and you have an idea of how you want to play the scene and in which direction it's going to go, but then you're completely surprised. And not all directors love that. Some directors freak out when that happens, but Zal embraced it. He loved it. When something went wrong, he almost went like, yes, now let's figure it out, let's work on it. And that created an atmosphere on set that was beautiful, where everyone was so invested in the project, and Zal and Britt's energy, and how we all kind of like, love those moments where it was like, let's play around with it. Like, all right, we've done it this way now. Let's see what happens if we play it this way. And if I change the way I say this line, what I'm going to get back from Ellen or Britt is going to be different, and then that will change the direction of the scene in a way. And it sounds very. I mean, it's that's actually not always the case on a movie set.